Hello everybody and welcome back to the 2022 2Y Downhill Battle presented by Racing Power 19 Enterprises 2022. So of course, you guys saw how the truck race ended up going, and I must say it was a very chaotic race, but now it's time to move on to the XFINITY side of things. That's right folks, we're going to do this again, but this time we're going to be doing it with 6 XFINITY series drivers. Now as you can see right here, this is pretty much the same thing of how the truck series ended up. This is the same format as the truck race, so there's really not much of a difference on our format today, but we do have different drivers today that will be racing in this event. And here are the drivers that will be racing here today. Sam Mayer will be driving the number 1. Right beside him is Justin Allgaier, the 7. The 8 of Josh Berry. The 9 of Noah Gretson. Austin Cindric in the 22. And Riley Hurst in the 98. And although Austin Cindric is not eligible to race in the Cup Series race, which still has yet to be scheduled, but since we are currently missing a lot of diecast on our shelf right now, it's kind of impossible to do that at this current time. So we're going to be doing this in the meantime, and at least Austin Cindric can actually participate in a race in this event this year. So that's really a good sign for Austin Cindric in the number 22, who will be racing here today. And once again, like what happened in the truck race, we have a big crowd on hand here today. They just finished up pre-race ceremonies, so that means we are about to get started here very shortly here to start the XFINITY race here at the 2Y Downhill Battle event. And in the meantime, we're going to do the same thing like we did, what we did in the truck race, and we're going to bring out the wheel to see which drivers will be going up against each other in the first rounds here in this event. So let's go ahead and do that. So of course, if you guys have already seen what the truck series looked like, you will automatically know what this wheel represents. Basically what we're going to be doing here is going to be doing the exact same thing like we did in the trucks. We're going to pit 2 random drivers off here. Whatever it lands on, those guys will be going in the event. So of course, this is going to be for the first round, and let's see what 2 drivers will be going up first. Alright, so one of the drivers that will be going first in this first round will be the 1 of Sam Mayer, going up first. And he will be going up against the 98 of Riley Herbst. So Sam Mayer and Riley Herbst will be the drivers that will be going first in tonight's event. So as we start the first ever round here in tonight's event, Sam Mayer and Riley Herbst will be going up against each other here in this first ever round in this event. And it's really gonna be chaotic, as you really saw in the truck race and how that turned out. I'm expecting that we're gonna do that. The same thing is going to happen in the XFINITY series as soon as we drop this green flag. As we drop the flag, this event is now underway. These guys are a little squirmish. They're both in a little wall. They both bounce off to the other side of the wall. And it looks like Sam Mayer is going to have the early lead here with 1-0 here in this first race. So again, Sam Mayer is the early leader, and Riley Herbst can still have a shot at him. Although he has a big goose egg right now, that does not mean it's unlikely that he will win himself a point in this event. And here we go, they're back at it again. We're going to drop the green flag again. They swerve into the wall, and Riley Herbst gets a point and steals one away from Sam Mayer. And now it's tied between 1 point apiece between Sam Mayer and Riley Herbst. It's really getting interesting now as Sam Mayer and Riley Herbst are now tied with 1 point each. But remember, only one driver can win, and it could be one of these two. Will it be Sam Mayer or Riley Herbst? And this is for the first spot in the semi-rounds. Remember, only 3 drivers to get in, and only one of these will be one of those 3. And there they go, down the ramp again. They're going in a straight line, and here they come to the line. A photo finish to the line. It looks like from that angle, I believe Sam Mayer is going to notch out Riley Herbst for the second point. As we're going to have to take a look back and see how close the margin was between Sam Mayer and Riley Herbst. This was insane. Take a look at this. They're in a straight line, and they go across the line, and look at that, clear as day. Sam Mayer, out in front, crosses the line first. Unbelievable finish between those two. As Sam Mayer now has the lead with 2 points, and Riley Herbst still with 1. So after that wild finish, the intensity has really picked up. As you see, it's now 2-1 between Sam Mayer and Riley Herbst. But if Riley Herbst ends up winning this race, we're going to go into an inaugural in-it-to-win-it race and a race 5. So, that doesn't mean that Riley Herbst is done yet. He still has one more shot to see if he could go up and to see if he could go into the semifinals. And down they go yet again. Now they're going in a straight line again. This is going to be close. But Sam Mayer ends up holding off Riley Herbst, and Sam Mayer is going to move on. And it looks like Riley Herbst is going back on that shelf as he's eliminated here today. Man, that was an intense race between Sam Mayer and Riley Herbst. But Sam Mayer, without any question, is going to move on into the semifinals. So that round was relatively clean, but let's not jinx that just yet. Let's not say that just yet, because this next round could get a little dirty. So we're gonna go ahead and see what this next round's gonna bring up, because I know the intensity will probably kick up a notch. Anyway, the next 2 drivers that will be going up will be, looks like Josh Berry, the 8, will be going up next. But he will be going up against the 7 of Justin Allgaier. So that means Josh Berry and Justin Allgaier will be going up next in this event. And Austin Sidron and Noah Gratson will be going up in the final round to see who will be the last driver to move on into the semifinals. Again, GM Motorsport drivers are now about to go at it. Justin Allgaier in the 7 and Josh Berry in the 8. And here they go. Down the stretch they go. Oh, a little bit sideways. The both into the wall. Allgaier harder than the wall. Josh Berry is going to get that point, and Justin Allgaier is a sitting duck right there as he doesn't make it across the line. Now, you may not be able to see it well, but they both made contact into the wall right there. But Allgaier, oh, that's a big hit right there for Allgaier. So he doesn't make it across the line, but Berry does. And that's why he has that 1 point now as we go on to the next race here in this round. So Josh Berry holds on with the early lead with 1 point. Justin Allgaier, still has 0 points, but still looking for that first ever point in this event. Although they are teammates, they may not be in this one. You saw what happened in the trucks where Matt Crafton and Johnny Sauter went together. Honestly, I don't think they're going to be teammates in this one as well. And here they go. They're back at it again. A little bit straight. Allgaier gets up to the wall a little bit. Berry as well. But Berry still holds on, as Berry now has 2 points, with Justin Allgaier still at a big goose egg. Are we on our way to our second ever blowout race here in this event ever in history? We had a blowout race between Dotson Cram and Austin Hill in the truck race, where Austin Hill won that when it was 3-0. But are we on our way to another blowout race here in the Xfinity Series? All we gotta do is find out. And here they go, down the stretch they go. Does Allgaier have a chance? Berry tries the block. Crossover move. And Berry ends up having a blowout race between him and Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier could not get a run and could not get past that dominant 8 car of Josh Berry. And no matter what people say, Josh Berry is going to move on after that dominant performance that he had between in that round between him and Justin Allgaier. Again, just like we said before, Gretson and Austin Cindric were not chosen on the wheel, so that means that they're going to be going up next here in this event, and this is for the final spot in the semi-round. Will it belong to Noah Gretson, or will it move on to Austin Cindric? Honestly, the G Motorsport drivers have been really dominant throughout this go-around. Of course, Sam Mayer in the 1 and Josh Berry in the 8. Honestly, we might want to watch out for Noah Gretson right here, unless Austin Cindric can spoil the party for Junior Motorsports. And down the stretch they go. They are side by side. Cindric punts Gretson into the wall, and he takes the point away from him. Austin Cindric now has the early lead in this round, with 1-0 between him and Noah Gretson. What can Noah Gretson do here? What can he do to get his first point here? Only the second race will answer that question. It is time for Noah's chance to shine. Here they go down the stretch. They're both in a little wall, but they're on a forward trajectory to the line, and Cindric is going to make it first. And Gretson comes up just a little bit short of getting that point, as it's now 2-0 between Austin Cindric and Noah Gretson, who still has a bit goose egg right now. Cindric is looking at a positive window right now, as he is looking forward to put this race to another blowout race. No driver has ever done. We have not had an event that had 2 blowout races, and I think that's going to happen today. Gretson's got to be smart here in order to get that point. He is out front by a fender, but he gets into the wall, and Cindric retakes it. He takes the lead away from Noah Gretson, as Gretson got into the wall, and that cost him that point. And Cindric was somehow able to get in front of Noah to take that point away from Gretson, which Gretson looked like he was on his way to get that point, but somehow he made a costly mistake that prevented him to get that point. We're going to take another look here. So when they come off the ramp right here, Gretson was getting a big run. He had a lot of momentum coming in, and oh man, he lost that momentum when he hit that wall. Of course, that gave Austin Cindric a chance to slide by Noah Gretson and steal the point away from him. As Austin Cindric will move on, and Noah Gretson will be going back on the shelf after this one. Man, bit heartbreak for Noah Gretson, but Austin Cindric has claimed the final spot in the semifinal rounds. And here we are in the semi-final rounds. 3 drivers have made it into the semi-final rounds, which they are Sam Mayer, Josh Berry, and Austin Cindric. These 3 drivers will be going up against each other to determine which of these 2 drivers will be going into the championship. Now, if there are some newbies out here that are watching this right now and haven't seen the truck race, and you guys are probably like, wait, there's 3 drivers. Like, how will you know for sure which of the 2 drivers will make it in? It's not like all 3 drivers have to go down the ramp at the same time. Well, that is true. All 3 drivers cannot fit into the ramp. But what we're going to be doing is that we're going to showcase you the wheel and determine how it works in the semifinal rounds, in case that there are some people who are new to this series. So, let's go to the wheel and showcase y'all how it works. Now, of course, if you know how the wheel works in the semifinals, you would know, it's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to roll the wheel at least 2 times, and whoever the 2 drivers are picked will be going up against each other in the first semi-round. But for the second semi-round, whoever the loser is will be going up against the driver that was not picked in the wheel. And whoever the winner is in the semi-final round will be moving on into the championship round. But again, whoever the loser is will be going up against the driver who was not picked, and that will determine the second championship driver. Remember, only 2 to get in, and we have 3 on here. And let's see who those 2 drivers will be. So a first driver in the semifinals will be Sam Mayer and the 1. We'll be going next in the first semi-round. And going up against Sam Mayer in the semi-final round will be Josh Berry, the 8. So that means the Junior Motorsport drivers will be going up against each other in the first round of the semifinals. And whoever the loser is will go up against Austin Cindric for the final championship spot. It's time for the semi-final rounds. First up, of course, is Sam Mayer and Josh Berry. This is really going to be interesting here, but let's see which one of these guys will be moving on into the championship round. And the semifinals are now underway. Oh, they're both sideways. They're both into the wall. Berry now straight now, and he gets the point. And Sam Mayer does not make it across the line. Seems like him and Josh Berry had too much content, and now you see Sam Mayer just stuck right there as a sitting duck as he doesn't make it across the line. Josh Berry holds on with the lead right now with his 1 point, but Sam Mayer still is looking for his first. What did Sam Mayer do in this run to get that point? Oh! He gets squeezed up into the wall by Berry, and Berry claims the second point. And it looks like we are on our way to a third straight blowout race. If Josh Berry can hold him off one more time, then this will be the third straight blowout race ever in serious history. We have not had that yet, and I believe we are on our way for that to happen. All we gotta do is find out what Sam Mayer can do. Oh boy, I think we're about to see history in front of our own eyes. Josh Berry now has 2 points, but Sam Mayer still at 0. Josh Berry is on his way to a possible blowout race and possibly the third straight in a row tonight. If that happens, then history will be laying down upon us because there hasn't been a race that had 3 straight blowout races, and that could change tonight. Can Josh Berry hold him off, or will Sam Mayer find his way to accomplishment? Oh! And Berry blocks Sam Mayer, and Josh Berry's gonna do it! Another blowout race! And this is the third straight in a row. History is about to be laid upon us, as this is the first ever race with 3 blowout races in a row. Oh man, this is completely insane. But nonetheless, Josh Berry is moving on into the championship round, and Sam Mayer will be going up against Austin Cindric for the final championship spot. So now, Sam Mayer now has to fight Austin Cindric, and once again, this is for the final championship spot. Josh Berry's already locked in, but either Sam Mayer or Austin Cindric will get that final championship spot. Let's see who it will be. And green flag is out, and down the stretch they go again. Sam Mayer is looking on the outside, but Austin Cindric gets it done, as he now has the early lead with 1 point to 0 between him and Sam Mayer. Austin Cindric is really ruining Junior Motorsports' day right now. Justin Allgaier and Noah Gretson have already been eliminated. Josh Berry is already into the championship round. I believe they're about to lose another driver, Sam Mayer. But Sam Mayer has to fight really hard right here in order to get that lead. But Austin Cindric is the one to keep your eye out for. Back down they go again. A little bit sideways, Cindric passes his car a little bit sideways, but he makes it across the line. As it now is 2-0 between him and Sam Mayer, and it looks like we could be on our way to another blowout race. If that's the case, then buckle up, folks. We're about to see history in the making. A possible 4th straight blowout race is ahead of Austin Cindric's door. We have never had 4 blowout races in a race ever, and this is only the 2nd race in this 2 wide downhill battle series event. And this is only an exhibition race. we were expected to see this in the main event when the Cup race takes place, but no, we are seeing this in the exhibition race. I think history is about to be laid upon us. We're only gonna do is find out and see what Sam Mayer can do. It's either history or a takeaway. What is going to happen? Sam Mayer a little bit sideways, and oh my word! Another straight blowout race, and this is the fourth one in a row. Man, we are seeing history, folks. We have never saw this before. But nonetheless, Austin Cindric has claimed the final championship spot. And that means Josh Berry and Austin Cindric will be going up against each other in the championship round. And here we are, into the championship round. And look, it's Josh Berry and Austin Cindric who will be going for this win and the championship. Austin Cindric really dominated Sam Mayer in that last round after that fourth straight blowout race that we had in this race today. But Josh Berry also had a blowout race. So we might want to look out for these two, as they're really going to be dicey here in this championship round. And the championship round is officially underway. Oh, and they're a little bit sideways. They're both sideways. Cindric now loses it, but he does cross the line backwards as he gets that first point here in the championship round. Still an unbelievable performance by Austin Cindric as he made it across the line backwards. What a way to kick things up a notch here in the championship round. Let's take a look at this. Things were really heating up right here. Cindric looks like he was trying to block Josh Berry, and then that got both of them into the wall. Cindric and Berry spins out, but Berry didn't look like he spun out, but Cindric did. Berry doesn't make it across the line, but Cindric does backwards. So Austin Cindric still has the lead right here this early in the championship round. That was a great way to kick things up a notch here in the championship round. Cindric still has the championship lead right now, but let's see what Berry can do right here coming into this next round of this race. And here they go, down they go again. Will they have issues this time? Oh! Josh Berry does! Cindric makes it across the line. And Berry, once again, does not make it to the line. It is not looking good for Josh Berry, as Austin Cindric now is looking at a potential fifth straight blowout race to end this one off. This will be interesting to watch for sure. It's time to buckle up here, folks. Josh Berry is trying to see if he can get his first point in this championship round. Ever since the beginning of this event, we had not had two drivers go separate ways and get their own point. Mainly, it's just been blowout races, which is mainly 3-0. And all the races except for the beginning of this event. So we might want to look out and keep our eyes on Josh Berry, unless Austin Cindric can pull out yet again another dominant performance and get this championship race going. Remember, Austin Cindric needs to have one more point to win the championship. But Josh Berry, do not count him out just yet. It all comes down to this. As they go down the stretch again, they are side by side. They both get into the wall, and Cindric has done it. Another dominant performance done by him as the fifth straight blowout race to end this one off. History has been made. 5 blowout races in a row in a event. No, there hasn't been an event that has that happen until today. A dominant performance by Austin Cindric as he is the 2022 2-wide downhill battle exhibition XFINITY Night Race champion. What a performance by Austin Cindric in the 22. 2 times in a row, he has had a blowout race. And it was between Sam Mayer in the semifinal rounds and Josh Berry in the championship round. So, quite frankly, a very dominant performance done by Austin Cindric. Without question, I think he deserved that championship win. After 2 straight blowout races that he had, I'm quite positive he deserved this championship win. So let's take a look at tonight's results here. Austin Cindric What a performance today that he had. Again, 2 straight blowout races that he had. So, honestly, a great run for him as he is your champion for tonight's race. Josh Berry had a strong run at the beginning there, but he comes home in second. Sam Mayer as well. He does come home in the 3rd place position. Noah Gretson got beaten by Austin Cindric in one of the blowout races. So that means Austin Cindric had 3 blowout races tonight. So unbelievable performance by Austin Cindric, but again, Noah Gretson didn't receive a point at all in this event. So he comes home in 4th place. And you see in the 5th place position there, Justin Allgaier, who got beaten in a blowout race as well, which was the first ever one tonight, actually. It was the first ever blowout race in this event. And of course, Riley Herbst coming home in the 6th and final spot. As a matter of fact, Riley Herbst was the only one who ever got on a point while he was competing with a driver who made it into the semifinals. It was, of course, Sam Mayer and Riley Herbst. And that event was the only one that wasn't a blowout race. So, a pretty strange day, considering the fact that almost every single race but one had a blowout race. But still, Riley Herbst gave it all, but comes home in the 6th place position. And this is where our broadcast is going to come to an end. So thank you all for tuning in to this amazing and historic race. And we will see you guys in the main event at the Cup race. So see you guys then.